What's going on, guys? In this video, we're going to talk about how to bunt for a base hit. We're going to talk about the bunting technique and also how to bunt to move guys over and use the bunt as part of your strategy. But if you can bunt for a base hit and use your speed to get on first, that's a huge asset to have in your toolbox, right? I'm Coach Matt in YouGoProBaseball. This is Nick Shaw, former Brewers Middle Infielder and creator of the Baseball Box. It's a monthly subscription box filled with cool baseball stuff delivered to your doorstep every single month. If you're interested in checking that out, it's at thebaseballbox.com. Now, Nick, tell us, you were a leadoff guy, you had some speed. How did you use the bunt to not only move guys over, but get on base, and what was your technique? Break it down for us.
So I was a quicker guy, all right, and I liked getting hits. Now, if you're either one of those two things, you might want to pay attention a little bit. It's not just about being able to put the bunt down. It's about the threat of you bunting and what it does to your infielders. Now, I was a guy who liked to show it a lot. I was a lefty, so it's made it sell a little bit more, but you can do it from the right side as well. I like to show it a lot just to get the infield to react. And it got to the point where every time I would come up to the plate, I now have my third baseman even with third base or even in front, and I have my first baseman even with the base or even on the grass. Now, what does that do, you might ask? Well, now all I have to do is hit a hard ground ball, and that hole, 6 hole, is pretty open. I opened up the line a little bit, and I've opened up the 4 hole and this line a bit just by bringing them in and giving them less range, all right? On top of that, I would show the bunt to the pull side, so the first base side, to bring the second baseman in a little bit even more, all right? Because that's where I would try to bunt if I was going to the first base side. I would go right at the second baseman. So it got to the point, like I said, where I would step up. This guy would be in, first baseman's in, the second baseman is even cheating a little bit in, which opens up a lot of the field for more hits, all right? Now, why does the bunt benefit me? Why does actually putting it down benefit me, and how do I do it? If I'm struggling, which every hitter struggles, you could be Albert Pujols in his prime and you can go 0 for 40. You're gonna struggle. But if I find a way to get out of that slump without having to fine-tune my mechanics and timing and time a ball up perfectly and square it up perfectly, if I can just lay a bunt down and break my slump and get the first hit, it's huge. A lot of times the slump is just mental. It's getting that first or second hit to break you out. So if I can get the bunting technique down and put down a great bunt for a base hit and get me out of a slump, it's a great thing, all right? So the process here is, and I'm going to talk as a left-handed hitter at first, and then I'll go to righty. I was a lefty. When I was going to third base, I wanted to make it look as similar as I could to my swing to not tip off the third baseman or any other infielders. But if I'm going to third, I didn't want to tip off the third baseman. So I wanted to keep it similar. I had a leg kick. So when I was going to bunt, I would also have the leg kick. Now with that leg kick, I would bring my bat and my leg directly after. There's 2 ways we can bunt to third base as a lefty. You can either bring your back leg, you can bring your back leg towards the pitcher and you want it to land as soon as we make contact. This way, bam, contact. Contact. Or you can go in your swing and you can sink in your legs. Now, the difference is when I step forward, I now have gained a step and I have some momentum, right? As opposed to sinking in my legs. Now when I put the ball down, I am here with no momentum. There's no right or wrong way, but if I was to pick one for you to master, it would be the stepping through so that you can create momentum. The toughest thing with that is the timing and the direction. Now, the batter's box runs about right through here, all right? That is where I want this back leg to follow. Following straight through, and again, the timing, making contact when this left foot lands. Looks a little something like this. Or the other way, you can sink and bunt. Again, if I'm going to third base, this is basic, but my angle is very important. I always went for the rule as knob pointing to first base when I'm bunting to third base. Bunting for a hit to second base. And I never really bunted for a hit and deadened the ball here. But when I bunted to second base, I am pulling through the same way. It was my leg kick, make it look as natural as you can. left leg follows the batter's box line, and you get the barrel out in front with some angle. My rule was end of the bat, pointing to third base, okay? Now, these angles, you can always manipulate them a little bit based on what works for you, okay? But that was a general guideline I used and what worked for me. Two differences in when I bunt to third compared to when I bunt to second base. The one to third, I want to deaden the ball. I don't want it to go hard. I want to put it between the catcher and the third baseman and away from the pitcher, so obviously against the foul line. So I want to deaden the ball. Left leg comes forward. My contact should be at the end of the bat. End of the bat to deaden the ball here. End of the bat, not in the barrel, all right? Now, on the other side of things, when I'm bunting to second, I have to get this ball past the pitcher, and I am bunting this between the pitcher and the first baseman directly at my second baseman, okay? Trying to get it past the pitcher, so I'm coming through with my angle, left foot down, contact is on the barrel to try to get the ball to go hard past the pitcher towards the second baseman. Now, I want to talk about the bunting technique and the process as a whole, because I think nowadays kids like to get in the cage and they just like to swing it. They like to swing it, see how far we can hit it, whatever, which is cool. But if we want to play team baseball and win a lot more games, we're going to have to play a little small ball and work as a team. So if the coach gives you that bunt sign, he's giving it to you in a big situation more times than not. And I would almost say the situation is very important 100% of the time. Otherwise, we'd be swinging. So have some confidence, but here is some technique involved. Again, I'm talking from the left side, and then I will switch to the right when we talk about sacrificing. But a sacrifice bunt is when the pitcher gets up and goes to separate, I am out there. I am squared around, ready to go, okay? I don't want to go late, because if I'm late and the pitcher is already releasing the ball, my bat is now moving forward and I'm still getting into my position as I'm making contact with the ball, which makes it very inconsistent to catch the ball with the bat. All right, so I am squared around. When he breaks, I am squared. Sacrifice bunt to third, I am setting my angle right away. So my knob is to first. That's what worked for me. Knob to first, set your angle. Sink your legs, all right? Again, notice the angle in my feet. I've opened up a little bit and I've pivoted my back foot. Open up, pivot the back foot, and sink. Set my angle, and now all it is catching the ball out in front of my front foot, okay? Going to third, sink, and catch the ball. Again, on all sacrifice bunts, we're trying to deaden the ball, so we are using the end of the bat, all right? So the process should look something like this. Pitcher's up, pitcher breaks, I'm squared, I sink. Now, one final thing, hand positioning and bat positioning. Barrel should be above the knob, okay? We don't want to be too straight up, because at contact, we don't want to be flipping down. So barrel is slightly above my knob at the top of the strike zone, okay? There it is, simple as that. Barrel above my knob, top of the strike zone, and if I want to move down, I move with my legs. I move with my legs, all right? A lot of guys like to go this way, ball ends up going in the air, and a lot of times it's caught by the catcher, okay? So keep it simple, keep it simple. Square around, barrel above the knob, sink the legs, and adjust with the legs. One final thought is positioning in the box. Now, I don't want to be directly in the center of the box no matter where I'm bunting. It changes. I want to give myself the best percentage of putting it down in the most area to put it down as I possibly can. What I want to avoid is the bunt back to the pitcher, okay? So keep that in mind. It's not just a move up to the front of the box no matter what, because we have now closed our angle off, okay? To pull this ball down the line, again, I'm up in the box trying to go to first. To pull this ball down the line, my bat angle would have to be like that. And to actually bunt this ball fair is close to impossible. It's going to have a ton of side spin, so keep this in mind. If I'm going pull side, so if I'm a lefty, sack bunting pull side to the first base side, or a righty, sack bunting pull side, I am back in the box, okay? We don't have to be all the way back, but I would like your front foot to be right off the corner. That was my guide, and I'm going from there. Again, to open up this whole line here and prevent this angle from taking me down the line. There's no way I can bunt a ball this way and keep it fair. Okay, so if I'm going pull side, front foot off the back corner of the plate, sinking and catching the ball. Same thing with the right. If I'm going to third base and I'm sack bunting, sinking, set the angle, I'm back in the box off that back corner. Now, if I'm going the other way, now's the time I can get up in the box. Get up in the box, and that opens up this line. All right, so it opens up all this real estate here and keeps us away from the pitcher. So we're here, set the angle, again, catch it with the end of the bat, sending it down the line. But what I really want you to focus on is the position in the box. I know it's taught, and I used to think that I should get up in the front of the box every single time, but believe it or not, it closes off your angle to the pull side, all right? So, a couple things you can pay attention to. And when your name is called in the bottom of the 7th, nobody out, runner on second, and you get the bunt sign, let's be confident about it. Don't be nervous. You've done your preparation. Thanks, guys.
So there you go. That's how to bunt for a base hit, how to bunt in general, just a bunting technique from a great bunter himself, someone who used his speed to his advantage. Guys, if you're that type of player, you know, you have to know how to bunt. You know, you're going to want to play that game, or at least have that in your toolbox. So make sure you listen to what Coach Nick was saying there. Great stuff. Don't forget to check out thebaseballbox.com. Subscribe to YouGoProBaseball. Check out Nick on all the other social media platforms. Drop down in the comments below if you got any questions for us. We'd be happy to answer them. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much.